the guy ride down the road and shoot at the police. So I think there's a lot of things going on with the police in Louisiana because you got to think about the guy ran down the road and bust through the crowd just to get to them and started blasting shots at them. I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's definitely something um, that needs to be looked into, you know, because that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, I don't know, you know, and look, I don't believe that women should be in that high of authority. That's all I'm saying. Like, that's way too high in authority. Like, you know, we're talking about presidents and men who own companies, high top, you know, um, lavish men, and not just financially, but you know, you talk about highly intellectually um, powerful men. And you know, you're talking about having of all the people, whether she was black or white. Like, it really wouldn't matter what color she was. Like, I mean, women are not supposed to be in a position to be trying to dominate and, like, you know, be in a position to, um, you know, argue and go blow to blow with a man. Like, that's just not a female position. Like, that's like, if the black community is going through so much, where's the black men at? How about that? If the black community is suffering so much at the cost of the higher power white man, where is the black man? Why isn't he the one in that office and in that seat? Now, he should be fighting to get in that office. He should be fighting to get in that seat, because I'm like, at the end of the day, it's a man's, it's a it's the image of a man. And the argument is in the image of a man. So why would you want to destroy that image of the man by bringing in a female? Like, no. Like, I feel like if it's that, you know, if there's so much to it, where is the female? Where, not the female, where is the man? Why is it the man out there battling that, right? Mm-hmm. Right? Okay. Exactly my point. I'm just like, you know, why do you have her up there? It doesn't make any sense. Like, you can't have enough men out here. You can't have enough. You can't have enough. If that's the case, you know, it just doesn't solve the situation to have her trying to, you know, take on these high powerful men in these positions. At the end of the day, it's a man's job. You're dealing with men, and it should be handled by men. I think just look at the fact that you have a man platform bringing the story to the place. So it should tell you that it takes the man to also deliver the actions that are being, you know, brought to the forefront on the platform. The fact that you don't have a male image there, that alone should be disturbing in its own way, you know, because she's representing a very high ranked seat according to the legal system, and I'm like, whether she deserves that seat or not, it's the sad part is that she doesn't have the masculinity of the male image able to, I mean, even after that, like, you know, then the second in chair is a female, third in chair is a female. It's like, how many chairs do we have to music ourselves around before we get to a man? So sometimes you gotta escape. Cause like if you don't, they probably might never listen to you. They might not never give you an opportunity. You know what I mean? Like, if you can escape, dog, I advise you to escape. I advise you to get out. I'm just like, look here, though, man. Like, trying to embark on a miracle or living in a fantasy world. But it do go to show you that, you know, in order for anything to be accomplished, it takes people making that move and making that initiative. Because it's just like, you know, what's all this, man, you know, you ain't gonna know it. It ain't nothing you can do. You know, it takes the people to come together. Because, you know, history shows that, you know, people gathered together to destroy the black community and lock people and lock specifically. You know what I'm saying? So it's like to be locked up, that was something, you know, that took a lot of people having a standing grounds on that. Okay, you know, I'm gonna back this up, I'm gonna back it up. You know, it had like a lot of strength on it, and it was able to be pursued. And in order to make anything happen, anything, regardless of what it is you want to do, if you want something spontaneous to happen, business even, like in order for a business to boom, people have to be engaged in the business. People have to want to buy your product. I mean, it takes people gathering and coming together to achieve anything. In order to embark and make anything make sense, and all this, you know, maybe you ain't gonna get. But we gotta start speaking French and turn into we, because it means that we have to gather together, and we as people have to prioritize our priorities. We as people have to come together. People have to understand where their priorities are, because it's like if people don't deserve nothing else, they deserve the truth. If nothing else, when it gets to the point where we don't give each other truth, we all in a bad place. We all in a bad place, whether we on the grass or not. We all in a bad place. So, you know, that's our ass. Because, you know, you can't tell the truth in what you got. What you got working for you, you ain't got the truth. You know what I'm saying? So, being real and making a means of being able to make that work in your favor. Because, you know, it shouldn't have to be to where it's like, you know, we from a dope dealer, from a working man. Both of them are fighting for $1 with somebody's face on it don't look like them. So who's really the bad guy here? Who's really the one in the wrong? They both fighting for the same thing that does not reflect them. So when you talk about the man in the mirror, well, let's talk about the man in the mirror, because the man in the mirror looking back at me is not the man looking in the mirror. You don't know you don't know if you coming or going. You don't see the bottom of, you don't see what's going on the bottom. You don't know what the ass is like on the bottom. You don't know what's going on the bottom. You don't know if it's coming or going. You don't know if they could be facing this way and they put the image this way. Like, you know what I'm saying? You just really don't know. You just sit there and relax. It ain't okay to just sit there and wait. You got people who have done the most. You got rapers and all kind of shit got bonds. You got people who catch one little itty bitty little argument or something, say little something, and you don't get no bond. But you got repeat offenders to catch a bond, get released for the same old shit. But they want to get you on that recalling it shit. They don't give you a bond. But then, you know, you also got to remember how people like to move the goalposts. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, you got to learn how to forgive. Because, I mean, I know I've had bonds, and sometimes I couldn't always pay it. And I ain't always had baby bonds. I ain't had bonds that cost a lot of money. But I haven't always had the money to pay on bonds. But the thing is, though, you gotta learn how to forgive, though. One thing about that, like being in a place and you ain't able to get the water, you can't be get the water, you can't be get the grass. That ain't forgiveness. Like, you gotta learn how to forgive people. And that's the thing about it. The system is not overriding the real true power that resides. You gotta learn how to forgive, y'all. You ain't got no forgiveness in your heart for people. The whole point is not looking at whether people have remorse, because they're going somewhere where if it's possible they could be rejuvenated and learn a lesson. They can possibly down the line they'll realize, okay, can I ask for forgiveness? Can I say I was wrong? I realized I was wrong. Maybe at that point I was living another life. I was, in another kind of thinking. But the whole point is to have forgiveness in your heart. Not when you get ready, but at the opportunity to forgive. You never take even someone to the day for granted. People gotta learn how to forgive, knowing what you're worth. Statistics don't need to speak all the time. Allow your worth to speak and let the statistics sit back and rethink itself. That's the best thing you can do. Is sometimes you just gotta allow your worth to speak for itself. What's his whole? When Moses came, Moses was one man with his brother. His whole army of thousands didn't even come until much later down the line. The men were expected to be filled. The men were expected to be filled. Let go and let God. Against the temptation, when he realized that these were strong men and he could use them, they made it this far. It was time. Then God said, they are ready. They are ready. I need them to now come in and do what I need them to do. Not one man was ever left behind. Not one. You talking about a time when it was just all good. It was all good. You know what I'm saying? Like, said there will be one who will do even greater works than me. But in order for something greater to come, you have to strengthen up the flight that you have. In order for something to fly higher than you have to build a tree and then expect that tree to grow. And when and as that tree grows, the next generation grows, and the tree is higher. So that means the next generation has to fly higher. But first, the tree has to be planted. I watched that movie Orphan today. And let me tell you how the old girl changed the game. Like, the little girl was just picking on her. And she would be like, I would have really given her, I forgot the name. What the name of it? Okay, I forgot the name of the game. But, it was, everyone was like, oh no, she didn't. The little girl just ups and spins and screams, this urging scream for like the longest time in the middle of the hallway. And like the whole school just sleeps and looks. And like the little girl that's bothering her even stops, and she just like standing there And then she just continues to get this long urgent scream. And I'm like, but who would have thought that that was the remedy that it took for people to just go away and leave you alone? I mean, it's like a really long one too, a real long urgent, just really, 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 like, held a note for a long time. And it just goes to show you that, they're like, now, that's what I call changing the game. Like, and who would have thought, okay, they about to scrap. And it's like, she just, like, spins around, looks, and just gets this long screen out. Like, boom.